Here is a small homesteader's crofter's home, measuring internally 12 feet by 15 feet in length. The walls are made from the stone which has been taken from the fields, which were then probably used to grow crops. Behind the dwelling are some hawthorn trees. This one looks particularly old, and as it's growing in very, very stony ground, could have accumulated a great age. Behind it is a full summit, which has another summit, which then overlooks Snowdonia, Penya Pass and Capel Curig. We're only about 2 miles in a straight line, but it's a very difficult terrain to negotiate. Beside this field, in the distance, is another similar dwelling, and this, I think, was used for arable, whereas behind, that I've just shown you, I think that was intended for grazing herd, but sheep have recently been on it and they've left most of it, so I suspect possibly it was goats. And cattle, I don't think, would find any nourishment from the wet, sodden soil that waterlogs the area. Although rather remote, the railway, and there's what is called Roman Bridge, which is about 3 miles down the road, that came in 1890. But the railway system, which is in Bethesda, Betisicoed, get the facts right, came earlier, probably around the 1860s. So it gave an opportunity for people to find employment elsewhere. Can't help wondering how people were able to survive in such an environment. I don't think, but I could be wrong, it was gifted with much timber, so cooking and any warmth would become a challenging obstacle to overcome. Even now, much of the area is unfarmable because machinery is unable to access or work it. The soil thickness the depth of soil is shallow. The presence of a legion colony, as archaeology tells us, suggests that there was subsistence farming here. And I use the word loosely because I don't think we really can gauge productivity now from what it might have been. Stone walls surround the boundaries of the field, and I did some rough calculations earlier of the calorific value needed for 2 men to work day in, day out, stacking stones to create the boundary wall. It's fact that the food value, calorific, protein, carbohydrate, has changed dramatically since the Green Revolution of the 60s and 70s, and that there is less protein in flour that is produced now. I've seen better land in Scotland, and that is all laying fallow because it is totally unprofitable. And I was able to speak to a 90-year-old farmer who explained to me the principles of keeping a single horse for a 30-acre holding, and how the minimal size of the horse was the requirement because they needed less food. Here I really cannot see that they would be able to use a horse for ploughing. The soil is just so shallow. So there we have the conundrum of living off-grid and growing our own food. It needs a toil and a family.